The Verses from a four-track album sampler. That's a song called The Winter, and the album is called Seasons, and it will be out on August the 13th, and Ella and Jesse from The Verses are in the studio with Maddie, who's a part-time verse, I presume.
A chorus.
Or a chorus. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
It's been a while between recordings, hasn't it?
Mm.
It's been quite a while, quite a few years now, but we finally got around to putting something down again.
People might remember your names from the multi-platinum band.
Yes, that was our teenage years were spent in Killing Heidi, and then we took quite a big break, actually. I was going to say a little break, but we took some time to kind of figure out what we wanted to do as young adults, and just went bush for a while, and then we came back with The Verses.
Usually you do that when you're about 40.
Yeah, well, we had an early midlife crisis, I think.
What led to this decision to sort of take a break and have a think about where you wanted to go? Was it just the pressure of the whole thing?
It was. I think we were over it. We had taken it down, as far as we could take it down a certain road, and it was great fun. We had some amazing experiences and incredible opportunities. When I look back at it now, I really wouldn't change it. But at the time, we felt a little bit spent.
Time for something new.
Time for something fresh, something new, something different.
I think we started to write some songs, and we just felt like it was for a different project with a different mindset. So we weren't exactly sure what it was going to become, but gradually, as we got more songs together, we thought this is a new project.
Well, that must have been a big decision, given the fact that the band was so incredibly successful. I mean, that would have been a hard decision to make, wouldn't it?
Well, funnily enough, at the time, it wasn't. I think it just really felt like it was a natural life cycle of a thing, and Jess and I we try and stay pretty in touch with what we want and what we need from our lives, and we were raised to kind of realise that you've got to be happy what you're doing. It's not just about being successful or the destination, it's the journey, all that kind of new age stuff, but we really needed a new challenge and needed a new kind of path for our journey, so that became The Verses.
When did it become The Verses? Did you sat down and wrote some songs and then decided you wanted to form a new band?
Yeah, we had sort of a bunch of songs, and we thought, well, it's Ella. We did a few little sort of tours as Ella and Jesse, and we sort of road-tested some new songs and played a few old songs as well. And that was kind of when we sort of thought, okay, well, we need a bit of guys than that.
Ella and Jesse doesn't really have a ring to it.
So I think it was probably about 3 or 4 years ago when we came up with the new title. And at first, it was basically us as a duo with a sort of softer backing band, and it sort of grew and evolved over the last few years. And we've had a few different kind of sonic things that we've gone for while we've been doing demos, but finally we've arrived at the album, and it sounds really good. We think it sounds really good now.
Well, tell us about the production of the album, because you've used one of my favourite producers of all time, a guy called Mitchell Froome.
I know, we were pretty amazingly lucky and so blown away to have the opportunity to work with him. He's one of my favourites too, Brian. In fact, when I kept turning over all my favourite records, invariably on the back of each of them it says produced by Mitchell Froome, and from so many different kinds of genres too, from 90s quirky pop to folk to Richard Thompson, Rumour and Sigh, which is one of my all-time favourite albums, right to the stuff that people know him quite well for, which is Crowded House, and then even to 90s rock like Phantom Planet. And I just thought, this guy is the guy for us, because we write quite diversely. We never sit down and go, okay, we're going to write this kind of song. Lots of different kinds of songs pop out. So Mitchell was a great obvious choice for us, and we were just lucky that he heard the potential in our songs and wanted to do it.
We have The Verses in the studio.
Hello.
And I detect, maybe I'm wrong, a bit of a country kind of influence in the vocals there.
Yes,
Ella.
you would be right. I look, I don't even know when it happened, but it snuck in there, and it's staying there. It's something I've always enjoyed, actually, like ever since I was a little gal. My dad's been very into good country, old country, the good kind, and it's influenced the way I sing now. It's just taken a long time to kind of permeate, and out it's come, and I feel really comfortable singing like this. It really feels like coming home. How
was it working with Mitchell in terms of your vocals? Did he talk to you about that, or what he wanted you to do? Or
you know what? He was pretty hands off with the vocals. He said, I like what you're doing there. I like what you're doing. Just don't go too crazy. He actually was talking me talking me down a lot, just calming me down and saying, I really
relax.
don't oversing anything, don't do any vocal acrobatics, just relax, let the song do the heavy lifting. And I thought, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's made some of my favourite records, so I'll do what he says. Yeah.
So what does a producer like Mitchell, what's his input in terms of...
Well, it's pretty
putting the album
massive.
together?
It's pretty
Yeah.
massive. I mean, from track selection, we had tons of songs by the time we got to LA. We probably had about 100. And I mean, some of them were just not appropriate because we, as I said before, we write so diversely. So maybe 50 of those were not appropriate from the get-go. But from the 50 that could have been on the album, he was very instrumental in choosing those and then helping us with those songs, making them the best they could be, doing some pretty intense work on the actual structure of the songs and chords, and so it was a huge education.
I think two of his favourite instruments are the Chamberlain and the Octagon. Did
Totally.
he play either of them?
Oh
on the
yeah,
album?
He's got a room full of keyboards, Brian. It's like some kind of bat cave with keyboards hanging from the walls, and yeah, it's pretty awesome.
So did he play them on the album?
He got
He
one
did.
called the Orchestron on.
That's
the
my
Orchestron.
yeah,
which is very-
Orchestron.
yeah, we had to Google Wikipedia to work out exactly what it
Yeah.
was.
This is a new one.
Yeah, and
It's
we've actually
pretty cool.
We've got some little footage on our if you're computer literate, we've got some footage of him playing it on the Facebook, the Versus profile, playing the Orchestron. So it looks pretty wacky and it sounds amazing. It's actually on that song, The Winter, that you played before. It's kind of like almost like a fake strings synth kind of thing.
Orchestron.
It's very
Yeah.
breathy and beautiful, and I mean, Mads would know because she's usually our keyboardist, but we couldn't bring a keyboard in the studio today. But there's a ton of crazy instruments he played on the record.
Some of our listeners actually do know how to use the computer and have been on the internet occasionally.
Oh, we're referring to ourselves there because we're computer spaz.
So what is the URL?
It's just like there's a Facebook profile for
Facebook.
the
Yeah,
Verses,
Facebook.
and that's got lots of little videos that we took in the studio with the players and with Mitchell and
And
Alex.
MySpace?
And the MySpace as well, but most of the videos are actually just on the Facebook profile. But
And
yeah.
the
We've
Twitter.
jumped ship.
They're all
Yeah.
linked up
It's all
somehow.
there.
Yes, we tweet. We must admit that we tweet a little here and there, mostly about good coffees. But
Now tell us about the other musicians on the album, because you've got some pretty special people involved here, haven't you?
yeah,
I guess friends of Mitchell's.
Yeah.
That's true. Mitchell's crew over there was pretty spectacular, starting with Pete Thomas on the drums, and he's an attraction, as in Elvis Costello and the Attractions. So that blew our socks off right about there. We had to get him to do a few drum fills just to kind of, he's like, Pete, do that drum fill from the start of Chelsea, and he was just incredible player. And also Davey, Elvis's bass player.
Davey Farrar, yeah.
He's amazing. And Val McCallum, one of the most incredible guitarists going around in LA. But all just really laid back guys, completely the loveliest dudes you'll ever meet. And they all play in a band together over there called Jack Shit. So check them out if you've got the
They're very
time.
funny. They do country renditions of what would you say?
All
Of
sorts of
all
things.
sorts of songs. They do a country sort of comedy take on it. They all wear big cowboy hats and it's very funny. We went out and saw them play at the Baked Potato in LA.
Yeah, with Lucinda Williams, actually.
Yeah.
That was they're kind of they move in a circle that I was just mind-boggling to be a part of for a little while.
How long were you in Los Angeles for?
2 and a bit months.
Okay.
Yeah, but we were working pretty hard that time to get it all done. We only had Sundays off, so it felt like we were there for almost a long time actually.
So not much sightseeing or anything
No,
like
none,
that.
none.
Pretty intense. Would you like to perform another song? Oh, before you do that, when is the tour happening? Is there a tour?
Oh, that's a good question,
When might
Brian.
it be?
Well, we're actually putting it together now, but I think the album's out in August. I reckon it probably won't be till September, October.
We're
this point.
speculating
Yeah,
now.
we're
I would say check the website for details because we're not quite sure, but we'll definitely be out there touring and we'll love to be coming
With
to
a
a
full
venue.
band?
Yes,
Yeah.
with
Who
a
else
full
is in the
band.
band?
Well, we're still putting that together. The lovely Madeline here on keys and backing vocals and shaker and all sorts of things. And we might have a few special guests that we're working on, people that you might know of, but we can't say just yet.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to the Verses in the studios for Triple R and off the record. Ella, Jesse, Maddie. The album Seasons coming out on August the 13th.
Lucky
Friday
Friday
the
the 13th.
13th, yeah.
Woohoo!
Maybe when the album comes out, you can come back and have a chat about it.
Love
I'd
to.
love
More
Thank
detail,
you.
play a few more tracks. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for
Thanks
having us.
so
Sounded
much.
great.
Thank you.
Have you ever heard of a band called Drivin' and Crying?
Oh, no, but it sounds like the best country song ever written.
I'll play a track for you from an album. They disbanded a while back. They're from Atlanta, Georgia. One of my favourite American bands, but they kind of, the best bands you love are all the
Did
ones
they
that nobody else is
implode?
who. They kind of imploded. Kevin Kinney, the lead singer, went off and worked with Peter Buck.
Okay.
And then he got nodules on his vocal cords, had an operation, but he's back singing. And I'll play a track from their brand new album called The Great American Bubble Factory, and then we'll come back with the gig guide. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
See
so
again.
much.